Hi, greetings for the day. At the outset, I am thankful to CIDC for giving me an opportunity to talk to you. I am Anand Gosavi, a project management consultant, managing precast building projects with a team of about 50 odd engineers. We are based in Pune. Now, the topic of discussions today is aspects of site administration and control in precast building projects. Now, aspects of project management, aspects of various projects to be attributes of various projects to be managed, monitored. They are more or less same in almost all the types of projects. The principles are same, but the way or the manner in which these aspects actually impact on the performance or these importance of these aspects in managing the things, they change. The manner changes, the impact changes. See, attributes or the aspects is what you already know, that maybe when I manage project, what do I have to manage? I have to manage man, I have to manage material, I have to manage machinery, I have to manage billings, cash flows, documentation controls, preferences of documentation, and what not. I manage quality, I manage time, I manage cost, I manage billings, I manage cash flows. Now, is the manner of managing these projects remain same throughout all the types of project, or do they change? If I am working in a conventional project, the attributes and their impacts will be something different. If I am using my own technology, again, these things will change. Even the sequencing of activities may change. Some items may go out, some items may come in. There may be some certain simultaneous activities involved. There may be some certain simultaneous activities that are in my one, maybe sequential in case of conventional. Or even in precast, these things will change materially. So when I am managing the project, I have to just see to it that I am managing my project considering the impacts of these impacts of various project things, like maybe location, maybe the size, maybe the technology. More particularly, technological impacts are to be seen when I am managing. So, uh, I am just going to deliberate on aspects of site administration in precast engineering projects. Now, of all these things that are in front of you, human resource, on-site facilities, layouts, material procurement, management of wastages, construction equipment, budgets, cash flows. What will materially change when I am managing the precast projects? In my opinion, human resources, requirements of human resource management, site operational setups, actually speaking, on-site facilities and layouts, material procurement, and construction equipments and machineries. These aspects do materially change when we speak of precast building projects. Now, in case of a precast building projects, the actual execution is done at two places. One, I'm constructing a building at the building place, conventionally maybe in foundations, and then erecting precast components. And B, simultaneously, I am precasting the various components required for the erection of buildings. So today, I am going to speak on two major aspects, which in my opinion are very important when I speak of building precast building projects. One is man management. How the man management is needed to be handled, or how the man management is needed to be looked upon in precast industry. Second, materials or precast components manufacturing and management. Actual equipment management is another important aspect, but looking to the constraints of time, we will be talking on these two aspects. One is man management, one is materials. Now, when I say I am going to execute a precast work, what I need the team which is technically qualified and well versed with precast building technologies. C, I also need skilled labor force, totally oriented and trained in building precast projects. Conventional skilled labor for conventional projects, skilled manpower for technical manpower for conventional projects are easily available. Other building technologies that are used may not be requiring that high skill sets, which are totally different than the skill sets required for the conventional projects. And hence that manpower can be available. However, when it comes specifically to precast building work, I need this manpower with a different skill set. Now, I am not going to get them readily available in the market. If I am augmenting, if I am growing, I need to train the people. I need to train the skill labor force. Now, when I am training these particular labor force, or when I am training technical manpower, I cannot open schools to train them. I don't have time to. I pay them and I train them, which is not acceptable. So how do I make my teams? How do I govern my teams, and how do I train my whole manpower? A particular way has to be properly. See, I always have a set, or I always have a small group of people who are already trained. How do we learn things? How do we get to know the technologies? And how do we adapt and implement these technologies? Now, when we are formally trained in college, we are trained technically as we claim to. Of course, I hardly understand what is taught in college or what we learn there when we really pass out from the college. I personally feel I have been learning throughout in the field itself. However, how do I learn, or how do I make myself proficient in a particular technology or particular manner of work? I may be formally trained, or I may be sent to training abroad and get these things done. But most of the training, most of the learning, how do they come? I'll define a know-how, a learned or acquired knowledge of technical skill regarding how to do things well. See, this is important. What do I need to know? I need to know how to do things well. Know-how may be result of what? It may be result of experience, transfer of knowledge, formal transfer of knowledge, you can say, or hands-on practice. Now, more particularly when we speak of these technologies, what is important in my opinion? Hands-on practice. People acquire technical know-how by receiving formal or informal education, training, or this is important, working closely with an expert in a certain field. Now, how can I get myself trained in precast technology? Maybe I have a team of around 25 people who are technically trained and are working with me for a good time. And a new project comes, and I need 100 of such 10 people. What I have to do? I have to make a small team wherein my whole original 5 people will be there, and I add up some certain number of untrained ones, and I want a mixed bag of trained and untrained people, wherein all the 25 people in some days will be trained. How are they trained? Working closely with an expert in a certain field. See, this is very important when it comes to precast. I am not going into technical aspects of training needs and all those things. But if I train or I work with an expert, I automatically develop those skill sets or expertise in it. Now, this is required in both the cases. This is required for the technical manpower as well as skilled workforce. Now, once this skilled workforce or technical manpower is available with me, can I afford attrition? Now, let's say in India, there are few companies who are into building precast projects. Now, when I train some certain people with me, there is a chance of they going out. The moment they go out, my curve of performance will come down, because then again I will be taking a new team, training them, then I will reach to a peak of my performance curve. And maybe if I continue with this particular team, then only I will be able to deliver a quality product. But if my team goes out, Like this has happened in COVID, that many have gone home and didn't come back in Delhi projects. We have to develop new gangs. What has happened? Temporary, the curve of performance has come down. So in this particular field, retention of manpower which is trained is very important. Nothing else. Rest of the things are common. But training, making them expert in a particular area of work and maintaining them is important when it comes to the manpower management. So maybe you have to provide them proper facilities. You may have to look at the welfare of the people working with you, and there has to be adequacy of continuous work availability. The work availability has to be adequate so that they can sustain and survive with you. So next, another aspect is managing precast components. Now, managing precast components, why this is important? Now, when you are constructing a precast building project, you are precasting them first. So what I can say, my building is manufactured at ground first. I have to have sufficient manufacturing facilities which will produce these precast components for me. Now, these precast components, can I manufacture them and keep in for 3 years and I will be using it? No. If I do it, there may be some certain quality aspects, there may be stacking issues, or there may be some other thing. So what has to be looked upon? The material needs to be perfectly managed. I have to plan my production in such a manner that I fulfill the requirement of site. Now, when I say, let's say I am manufacturing beams, I'm manufacturing columns, I'm manufacturing slabs. I have got, let us say, 5 different types of building modules. So 5 different type of building modules. Each of module may have, let us say, 25 to 30 different types of beams. Now these 25 to 30 different types of beams into, let us say, 5 or 10 modules. So each component may have at least 100 different types. Now when I am manufacturing these 100 different types and stacking them in my stacking yards, identifying where they are stacked or the manner of stacking also becomes very important. Because if I am not stacking them properly, if I am not able to look at them properly, I will not be able to get the component that is required when I need it for the erection. Now many a times it may be so happening that I may not have a sufficient space for the casting yard at sites. So I may cast these components somewhere else and I may use them somewhere else. So I may need space for stacking at 2 places. One stacking place near my manufacturing unit and another stacking place near my site execution. Now at both the places, stacking has to be in such a manner that these particular components can be located, easily removed and used for the erection of works. So I have to match up with the speed of erection that is there on the site. I have to match up with the requirements of components, specific types or specific modules, and deliver them. If this is not happened, what will happen? I will not be able to give the progress. Let's say I have got 5,000 components in my yard, but none of these components match to my requirements. I have got 15 or 50 buildings constructing, and let's say as I go up, my design requirements are reduced. So my size of component may change, my grade of concrete for the component change, and my steel requirement may change. And I am going in phases. Now if I am going in phases, what will happen? I may complete 10 buildings first, then next 10 buildings, next 10 buildings, maybe depending upon the equipment availability. Now if this so happens and my person on the precasting yard completes production of all the first 5 floors, I will not be able to get the components in time, because by the time my 6th or 7th floor of the first building starts, if the components are not ready in the stacking yard, precasting yard, I will not be able to erect them, though my first 5 floors are complete. So proper synergy, proper interface and proper coordination is required for the managing precast. This area appear very simple or easy, but if I show you some photographs, how huge these things are can be seen. See, these are the some pictures of stacking gates, wherein columns are stacked, slabs are stacked, beams are stacked. And now if I need beam, which is right at the lowermost layer, I have to disturb all the things. How do I manage? I may have to manage the stacking date-wise. Even in case of columns, I will have to manage in such a manner that specific type of component can be located properly and can be easily removed and transported to site. Maybe on site, these yards may not have such huge numbers. Maybe because I may be stacking specific number of components required in a particular building within the radius of. So maybe if I need, let's say 500 components or 300 components per floor, depending upon the size of building, I may have a small area or space required at that particular location. Of course, I will have to have proper inventory in my yards so that even if there are some breakdowns in manufacturing units, the work at site shall not be hampered. So this is how the manufacturing of precast components and stacking needs to be managed. A short time I had, 15 minutes, 12 minutes, within which I can discuss whatever I can deliver. I have tried to do it so. And then I will conclude from the discussions. It is clear that even though the aspects of site administration and control remain same in all the projects, perspective, impact, and importance of these aspects change from project to project and depend on many factors such as technology use, type of projects, duration, location, etc. Project manager, planning engineers should understand these impacting factors and consider these things and their impacts while planning. Thank you. Any queries are welcome. This is my personal detail and my mail IDs. Your queries, any queries regarding the precast works are most welcome. Thank you. Thank you so much.